if you look at the support for the Freedom Convoy, there were polls that came out, I remember during that time, and the talking heads in the media, the mainstream media, pointed out that only about 35% of Canadians supported the Freedom Convoy. The rest were either opposed or they didn't have any opinion on it. Well, if you looked at the results of the 2021 election, there was a larger percentage of people who supported the Freedom Convoy than voted for the Liberals. And I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the narrative around the pandemic and the need for lockdowns and vaccine mandates and all these sorts of things, even despite all that, despite the messaging for 2 years, the fact that 35% of Canadians supported the Freedom Convoy was, I think, indicative of a huge amount of popularity, a huge reckoning that the government had with ordinary Canadians that were just fed up with the 2 years of pandemic restrictions. And I think if they were to do polling these days, and especially if with all the reporting on, let's say, vaccine harms and some of the downsides of lockdowns and mandatory masking and all these sorts of things, the support levels would probably be higher, especially if the CBC and the mainstream media went with a different narrative that was a little bit more down the middle, a little bit less biased these days. So yeah, certainly the support they had at the time was incredible. And I think as history goes on, they will be vindicated. And, depending on, they say history is written by the victor, depending on how they do with the sentencing and depending on if there's any more of a reckoning in terms of, things that come out about the Freedom Convoy or about the pandemic or about vaccine harms or about the Emergencies Act, if that supports the narrative that we agreed with, that people who supported the Freedom Convoy were agreed with, then, Tamara Lich and Chris Barber's popularity will be much greater in the future and they will be hailed as victors in history.